Okay, it is 10 o'clock. Welcome everybody to our February Physical Facilities Safety Committee meeting. I am recording this and I'll send out the recording for anyone who may not be able to join live. I neglected to ask someone to say our opening prayer. I wonder, Denny, would you be willing to offer our opening prayer this morning?
Sure, I'd be happy to.
Thanks.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we're grateful to be gathered here in the safety meeting today and pray for the Spirit to be with us, enlighten our minds and understanding, and help us to look for opportunities and ways that we can create to the safe environment on campus, and grateful for all those who work here. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. All right, it looks like we have 10 of our 18 people here. Once again, I will be recording this and I'll send it out hopefully by the end of the day to everybody with the minutes. I'm going to share my screen. And let's see here. Let's go to the agenda is right here. Make it a little smaller. There we go. We will start by turning the time over to David Smith from Risk Management. He has a presentation for us. I'm pretty excited for this. Oh, I guess I should stop sharing my screen and let you share, David. So let's do that. Stop share. And multiple participants. Okay, can you share now, Dave?
I think I can. Hold on. I'm going to. Let's just show my desktop. Can you see that okay?
Yes, that looks good. We see your PowerPoint.
Okay. First, before I get into the presentation, I want to show you guys. I'm going to share with you guys an incident that happened. Actually, at the church, it was a pretty serious incident. I was notified about a month ago. I've been trying to get some script for it, so I could share it with you all. But they had to take a bunch of stuff out, keep it kind of confidential, the location and all that. So I finally got it. So I'll share that with you guys here in a minute. And then before that, really quick, on the Risk Management and Safety website, I want to show you something new we just did last week. It was really quick change. If you go to the main Risk Management and Safety website and you go down to the bottom, there's a report of safety concern. And it used to be just a phone number and an email kind of saying, and that's great too. But we created a little temporary pilot kind of form for us to use right now in the time being, because me and Amber, when people submit this form, you guys know Amber McCorder, most of you, me and her will get these emails, just me and her in the whole department. And then me and her just go out and try to chase them and see if there's ways that we can help or fix things or whatever. But just, when you submit something in one of these forms as a near miss or safety concern, me and Amber we keep them very confidential unless people ask us to not keep it confidential who had sent it. So it's a no name, kind of no blame type of form. And it just helps me and Amber track what we fixed and then what we have and haven't followed up on, so that we make sure that we get back to people when they submit these to us. So I thought you guys would want to see that. It will probably get a little better looking in the future, but this is what it looks like now.
So that's just an additional method for submitting near misses, because we can still call and email and any other way, right?
Yep. Well, we're not going to stop that. Yeah, any way you want. But it's a good way for us to have some formal type. So if you call the main number, you may be asked to submit it that way too. But just a heads up, that's where it is. So please share it with your groups.
And also let them know you can text me or email me, and I'd be happy to fill in the form for you as well, if that would be helpful. And if you do that, I run a candy bar over to you.
See, Dave's method's even better. You guys might want to go that route. And we've always recommended, if you can get things done internally with your supervisor first, that's best. But we've had a couple people call us over the years and said, my supervisor's not going to fix it. Sometimes that happens. And I just want you to know there's another reporting method if you need to go that route. But most of these things can get fixed down in the lower level. You know, it doesn't have to go to risk management to get adjusted. So I agree with Dave. Go to him first, and then Dave will reach out to us if we can help in any way too. So
not only that, but I'll pass it along to you so that you can keep track of it as well, because I know that we keep a metric on near misses that is very helpful.
yeah, we're just starting to do that, and those candy bars will keep coming. So I have a budget for them, so I'll keep buying more if you need them, Dave.
Okay.
All right, so let me get on the presentation. So can you guys see this PowerPoint slide? Or make it a little bit bigger? You
Yeah.
see it better?
Yes, looks good.
Okay, great. So really quick, at the church office building, they have a risk management station group just like us. They handle a lot of things like missionaries and temple work, and it's pretty big. It's global, you know, church houses. They have safety people for all those different things, and the bishop's storehouse and things they do. So during the temple work, they had a contractor. This was back in December 2nd of this last year, so it was just a couple months ago. They had a contractor who was about 5 of them were painting the exterior walls of the temple. Okay. One of them was working alone at the time. He was sanding the wall, and he was 3 rungs from the floor, from the ground, from just 3 steps up on the ladder. As he was coming down, he lost balance, so he fell from his feet to the ground about 2.5 feet. Okay. He fell, unfortunately, just in the wrong way, and hit his head on a curb just below and killed him. So it was a 3-foot fall that killed this gentleman off an A-frame ladder. After the incident, they went back and they inspected the ladder to make sure it was in good condition and some of those other things you usually do in an incident investigation. And one of the things they noted in their investigation I thought was interesting, I put that in the notes here, was on the slide, is that the worker was known to be actually a really safe worker and was known to be careful. So even some of the most careful of us can get hurt, right? Based on the information, here's contributing causes they said at the incident. They said inadequate planning, possibly pre-job planning, it wasn't a contractor expectation at the time. So they feel like, I guess the church felt like they could have maybe had some safer work methods implemented. They could have identified some in the pre-planning phase. They could have looked at like extension tools, bakers, scaffolding, rolling ladders, or even having a coworker hold the ladder, stabilize it, and hand the person tools. Now, I don't think when they say this stuff right here, they're trying to put blame on the contractor. I really feel like, from what I was getting from them, so the words here may feel that way, but they really weren't. Their intention was maybe there's more that the church could look into to help these guys, make some more requirements to help them do the job safely. So here's some of the things they came up with. Oh, wait, for that, here's just some examples of, I took a couple snapshots off the internet, rolling ladder and a rolling scaffold. I'm just going to go on a little tangent. My last job, one of my last previous jobs, I did a large construction project, and there's a good friend of mine who got really hurt on a baker scaffold like this. He didn't have the outriggers on it, and he was pulling electrical wire in this 5-foot high rolling scaffold, and the scaffold tipped, and he fell on his knee, shattered his knee like 3 places when the scaffold tipped over. And he also broke some ribs, and he hurt his back. And then the weirdest thing happened, I remember this because I was helping him while the emergency people were coming, was I remember his safety glasses broke. I've never seen that before in person, where his safety glasses broke, and they actually dug into his forehead or stuck in his head. So I thought it was really, I still remember the image of the whole incident and seeing my good friend who was hurt on the ground. So sometimes these type of tools aren't the right choice, right? So I just want to bring that up as a point. They're recommending those things for this incident, but maybe that may not be the right tool for other jobs you may do, right? So something to think about. So these are the things they recommended. They recommended that they're going to start requiring contractors in temple work to do pre-job planning. Also discussing that they'll review the work or tasks before contractors came on site. So I actually used to do this at Rio Tinto when I worked up there years ago. And we used to look at all the contractors' safety plans before they showed up, and then we kind of share with them different mining safety rules and OSHA rules that would kind of apply, and company rules that Rio Tinto had before they go do their work. And so it's a good process, but it takes a little bit of time, and it's a little bit extra. But on the pre-job planning stuff, that can be pretty simple. Most people I've worked with in the past have done this mostly in construction. It's really a quick 5-minute discussion before they even start their day. So they get their group together, they stand in a circle, and they say, hey guys, let's talk about some of the things that changed today in the construction site. They would discuss, cranes being involved now, or forklifts now running along a certain roadway near their workspace, or whatever it may be, or some electrical work that is being performed that they need to get away from the area, if bring an MCC building in, or whatnot. So I just want to share that as something to think about as you guys and myself as well before I start doing any type of physical activity. And I don't do a lot of physical activity in my job right now, but even at home, could take it home as well, just to think about some of the hazards that could be present, even the small ones, because sometimes the small ones, like in this incident, turned out fatal for this guy. So anyways, just wanted to share that with you guys so you guys knew about that incident. I thought it was important to share. Lastly, my last slide, just look at this slide. I just took this off the internet. Do's and don'ts of ladder safety. There's tons of stuff out there like this to share with you guys if you find stuff. But if you just look at the pictures, you can see one guy has 3 points of contact. He has his belt buckle within the rungs. The ladder looks stable, and the other guy looks like, he's potentially going to fall, right? So looking at ladder safety a little bit. Hopefully this helps you guys look at ladder safety a little differently. It helped me when I heard this incident. I was like, wow, that's insane that under a 3-foot fall killed this gentleman. Maybe think about that when you see that in your workplace, and motivate employees to use the equipment right, inspect it, and make sure you have the right ladder and those kind of things. So anyways, I'd share that. I hope that's helpful. And
I got a question for you, Dave.
Yeah.
In the description of the incident, it mentioned him passing out. Are they sure he didn't fall from passing out?
Let me see. Because like what do you mean? You mean he passed out and then, he passed out off the ladder?
This is the same they found him passed out.
There is some more script I don't have in here because it was just so lengthy. Here, let me see if I can pull some of it out. There's some more script in some of these slides. I may not put it in, but there's discussion of they had a video camera in the area, so they actually saw, from what they told me, because I didn't see the film, but what they told me, they said when the contractor was stepping down, they saw him actually slip and fall. But like you said, maybe passed out and then hit the ground. You're right, it could be something like that, but it looks, from what they could tell, they felt like he slipped and then hit his head and then passed away from the initial hit.
Wow.
Yeah, good comment though. There may be more to that.
Okay, are there any other questions for David before we move on? All right, let's I'll screen share and we'll bring up the agenda again. Move this over here. Okay, number 2 on the agenda. Now, I'm sure all of you read the charter for this committee, and in the charter, one of the items is that there will be 2 co-chairs for this committee, me and another person. One of the co-chairs is supposed to be a staff employee, the other one administrative. we have now identified and selected a co-chair. Mark James from the electric shop is our co-chair for the committee, and we're equal co-chairs. So going forward, we meet together before this meeting to discuss agenda items, put the agenda together. We already did that. We started that with this meeting. And then another thing that the charter says is that the staff co-chair will be the person who will run the meetings. He'll be in charge of the meetings. And Mark and I talked about that, and we think we'll hold off on that part until we can meet in person, just because with Mark's situation, he has the electric shop there in the background. It's a little bit noisy for him to run the meetings with that in the background. So I'll continue to run the Zoom meetings, and we're thinking that maybe by the end of summer, we'll hopefully be able to start meeting in person for these monthly meetings. But thank you, Mark, for accepting this invitation, and looking forward to working with you on this committee. All right, number 3, we have a new training that's been developed by risk management at our request, and it's specifically for procedures for working on campus roofs. And I have it here, and we're going to watch it. It's 10 minutes long. And let me make sure first that I'm giving you my sound. Okay, share sound. All right. I'm going to start this. Let me know if you don't hear audio.
Many jobs and assignments will
Can you hear that audio?
Yes.
require a BYU employee to access and work on a roof on campus. In addition to BYU employees, independent contractors will also have the need to work on roofs located on campus. The purpose of this training is to help all employees who will be working on the roofs, as well as their supervisors and managers, understand the OSHA requirements and what BYU expects employees to comply with while performing temporary work on a roof. Any BYU employee or independent contractor working on a roof must have the appropriate security clearance, complete fall protection training, abide by the OSHA regulations and BYU standards found within the BYU Fall Protection Program. The Fall Protection Program may be accessed at risk.byu.edu. BYU employees and approved independent contractors must contact the University Dispatch at 801-422-2222 prior to opening a roof hatch, as the hatches are alarmed. They must then notify University Dispatch when they have finished the work and leave the roof. Any individual who accesses a roof without required security clearance and training may be disciplined according to BYU's policy and campus police's procedures. Any employee who wants to have a roof modified for their particular needs, for example, adding guardrails or demarcating the 6-foot or 15-foot lines, must contact both the Physical Facilities Building Envelope Manager at 801-422-5515 and Risk Management and Safety's Safety Manager at 801-422-4896 for approval, coordination, and modification. Temporary roof work is under the OSHA standard 1910.28B1, which states, the employer must ensure that each employee on a walking working surface with an unprotected side or edge that is at least 4 feet or more above a lower level is protected from falling by one or more of the following: guardrail systems, safety net systems, personal fall protection systems such as a personal fall arrest, travel restraint, or positioning systems. Guardrails. Guardrails are a reliable and convenient means of fall protection because they act as a visible and physical barrier by putting a barricade between the employee and the edge to help prevent falls from heights. Guardrails are a preferred means of protecting workers because the system does not rely on the worker to be trained in the use, inspection, and wearing of fall protection system. Guardrails must be 39 to 45 inches above the walking/working surface edge and able to withstand 200-pound force in any outward or downward direction within 2 inches of the top edge without reducing the height to less than 39 inches. Guardrail systems must be smooth-surfaced to protect employees from injuries. Safety net systems. A safety net is a flexible plastic net used to protect people from injury after falling from heights by limiting the distance they fall and deflecting the impact energy. It gives people more time to come to rest rather than hitting the hard ground directly. The net should be no more than 30 feet beneath the work area. Safety net systems are not a preferred method of fall protection, and installation requires professional expertise and technical knowledge. If a safety net is used to catch an individual, it must be removed and replaced as soon as possible. Nets should be inspected at least once a week and following any occurrence that could affect the integrity of the net. In general, BYU does not use safety nets, and use of a safety net for any project must be approved prior to the start of the project by both physical facilities and the Risk Management and Safety Department. Personal fall arrest systems. Personal fall protection systems is the form of fall protection which involves the safe stopping of a person already falling, keeping a person from making contact with the ground or a lower level after they have fallen. The most common manifestation of fall arrest in the workplace is the Personal Fall Arrest System, or PFAS. The ABC acronym can be used to help us remember the parts of safety arrest system, which are as follows. A. Anchorage and the anchorage connector that must be capable of supporting 5,000 pounds per worker. The guardrail system is not rated for tying off for fall protection. It is a guardrail and not an anchor. B. Body wear, a full body harness worn by the worker. Note that a body belt is not acceptable because it can cause further injury during a fall. C. Connector, a component connecting the harness to the anchorage, such as a lanyard or self-retracting lifeline. Your personal fall arrest system must be inspected for damage each time before you wear it. If there are defects or if someone has taken a fall using the equipment, it must be immediately removed from service. A fall restraint system prevents workers from reaching a hazard, while a fall arrest system allows workers to reach a hazard and then protects them if they should fall. Travel restraint system. A travel restraint system stops employees from getting too close to an unprotected edge. It restrains your travel to prevent you from falling. This happens when the employee gets to the open edge of a roof. The system holds them back. In other words, they can reach the edge but are not able to fall over the edge. A travel restraint consists of the following: safety harness, lanyard, fixed length or adjustable, lifeline, anchorage. For more in-depth information about guardrails and personal fall protection systems, please see the fall protection training on Y-Train. Low-sloped roof. OSHA has divided temporary roof work fall protection requirements into 3 different areas or zones. For this to apply, the employee must be working on a low-sloped roof. The majority of the work done on campus roofs are low-sloped. For each of the 3 areas, different safety rules and fall protection rules are required, depending on the operating distance from the roof's edge. These different safety requirements are categorized into the following 3 zones. The first zone is when working 0 to 6 feet away from the edge. When work is performed less than 6 feet from the roof's edge, the employee must be protected from falling by one of the following: a guardrail system, the preferred method of protection, or a safety net system, or a travel restraint system, or a personal fall arrest system. The second zone is when working 6 to 15 feet away from the edge. When work is performed at least 6 feet but less than 15 feet from the roof edge, the employer must ensure each employee is protected from falling by using the following: the guardrail system, the preferred method, or a safety net system, or a travel restraint system, or a personal fall arrest system. Or the employer may create a controlled designated area for temporary work with a warning line placed at 6 feet and use of a safety monitoring system. The warning line must comply with the following. 1. Must be erected around all sides of the roof work area. Number 2. The warning line system must consist of a rope, wire, or chains with a minimum tensile strength of 500 pounds. Number 3. Supported by stanchions that are designed to withstand being tipped by 16 pounds of pressure. Number 4. Marked at least every 6 feet with high visibility material and remain between 34 and 39 inches from the walking or working spaces. The safety monitoring system is a separate employee who has no other responsibility than to watch the entire job to ensure that the employee working never goes out of the bounds of the warning line. The monitoring employee may not be doing any other work or recreational activities while watching and must also stay within the bounds of the warning line. No work or work-related activity is to take place in the area between the warning line and the edge or outside the designated area. The third zone is 15 feet or greater from the edge. Work performed 15 feet or greater from the edge does not require the use of fall protection, provided the work is both infrequent and temporary. In these cases, the employee is prohibited from going outside the 15 feet line. If the employee does so, then the employee is no longer working in the third zone and must comply with the fall protection requirements of either Zone 1 or 2. Working on a steep roof. A steep roof means a roof having a slope greater than 4 inches and 12 inches vertical to horizontal, and must be protected by a guardrail system with toe boards, safety net systems, or personal fall arrest systems. Use of warning lines is not permitted. If any employee has a question about the roof and fall protection provided, please speak with your manager or contact Risk Management and Safety at 801-422-4896.
So that's the new training, and that it's not up in the training LMS system yet, but will be soon. I showed that to Dennis Patton's staff and to Jim Saka's staff, and they both want their shops to have that as a required training that is tracked. In fact, they want it to be one of the yearly trainings because it's such a high-risk area. And so as soon as that is available, I will add that to the tracking list for each of the shops. And I will make sure that I get in and I give all of you credit for having seen that as soon as it's available online as well. Are there any questions about that?
I've got a question, David. Joseph Beck here. Just as we usually have a handful of re-roofs every summer in our department, and I want to make sure that our contractors also, I believe they should be required to view maybe this training as well. We haven't had an issue with them. Most of them know what they're doing, but it's still a good practice to have them do that training, as well as all of my department, I think, should also review it as we go up and down frequently on and off of roofs. So I guess I look forward to seeing maybe a link or when that's available and how we access that.
No, we're able to have everyone who is associated with BYU that has a BYU ID log in and do it on the LMS, the Y-Train or the training LMS system. However, for contractors, I don't know, David, do you know if there's a way to give them access to the training LMS? I'm not aware of that. However, I have this video. I could give it to you, Joseph, and you can distribute it however you'd like. You think proper?
I'll talk to Tony Burdett about that. I suppose it's something we could all, at least the 6 of us in my department, should review this at the very least. I think about the sidewalk training video that I require all of my contractors to review as they access campus, and to me this is kind of in the same ballpark, I guess, that ought to be reviewed. for those that are being up on the roof. Sometimes my roofers will sometimes hire others to come and help them with other bits and pieces that aren't related to the roof itself. And again, I think people mostly know what they're doing, but it's always a good thing to remind them. Maybe I can just do that myself using your video.
Yes, I'll make sure you get a copy of this video, Joseph. And did you say you already have them take the driving on campus sidewalks training? How do they do that?
I just send them the link on my meeting agendas, and anybody can go watch that I've experienced, whether it be BYU affiliates or not. They can go view that. And they do.
Okay, I know that we've gone to a new e-learning system. It's not the old Y-train anymore. I'm wondering if they're able to see that driving on campus sidewalks.
I think they do. They are required to go create a username and password for themselves, and it has allowed them to do so without being a BYU employee.
Awesome. Then they'll be able to do this roof training as well.
Okay.
I will let everybody know when it is available in the training LMS. We're still, it hasn't been deployed officially yet.
And I think if there's anything you guys need, you want to share with contractors for like awareness training, we can figure it out, right? I mean, Dave, we can figure it out how to get you guys copies of it, and you can share it.
I'll reach out to you, Joseph. We'll make sure that this is working for your contractors, okay?
Thank you very much. It's a good thing to always review with them.
All
I have a
right.
comment, Dave.
Yes.
I've always wondered this because I've heard discussions on this before, and I'm wondering why, if we're going to talk this talk, why we don't walk it and simply engineer out the danger completely and simply put in a guardrail system on the roofs that don't have, you know, the walls. Why don't we just put those on there so there's no more danger at all?
That is a very good question, and it's a hot political question as well. There's strong feelings among administration that they don't want those roofs to be cluttered with too many railings and such. And so it's sort of an aesthetic issue that has some strong feelings by some of the directors. And so we're giving options, a bunch of options on how they can deal with the safety issues.
And Dave, we've also recommended this last year, I think even to Tony Burnett and his group. We've also recommended about a year or so ago, we sat down with them and showed them some parapet wall stuff. And for future construction, it could be beneficial if we look at building parapet walls that are at that 42-inch height, and then that way you never have to wear fall protection at all. It's just it's like an automatic guardrail all the way around it.
And it doesn't look cluttered at all when you do that.
Yeah, just engineering it out is a good way of doing it. I think they're looking into doing that in the future in some buildings.
If you look at the new heating plant building, for example, I'm looking at it out my window right now, but there is a railing that goes around the entire perimeter. It's considered to be somewhat unsightly by certain administrators. And so I think that it might not have made it up there had they known what it would look like ahead of time.
If I can have my 2 cents in on this as well, I know having been on plan reviews for re-roofs and talking with our designers who do all these things, some of our roofs that are older don't have the necessary up-to-date codes yet, but as each roof is on the rotation for CNA replacements and those things, they are brought up to code at those times. We put in guardrails around roof hatches that are on the perimeter of the building. We always put in the warning, bright visibility warning strip when we cross that 15-foot threshold toward the building edge. Those are all on there. All of the tie-off points are installed that were up there in the past, for instance. And so I think we rectify these things as we move forward, building the building, and it is done per code. I have seen places where, especially where the roof hatches are close to the edges as you come up off the roof, guardrails are put in place. I haven't seen very many where we have this yard, where we've created a yard, as that video kind of talked about, with those stanchions and chains and those things. I haven't seen those much, if at all. Most of the roofs that I've been involved with are kind of the large square foot areas. And so we just rely on that high visibility threshold. But it's always good to talk about and make sure we're in compliance with the modern safety codes. I think we do that for the most part.
So Joseph, kind of along that, when you talk about updating the roofs, is it possible to, like on bollards where you just take the bollard off, but you still have the base there? Do they have systems where you can just have those bases built into the roof so that when people do go up there to work, they can just install the guardrail easily so that it's not unsightly, but yet you still have that same protection easily installed?
I have not seen that. This may be a discussion with Kerry Wilson, who's the building envelope manager. You probably all know Kerry, of course. I think for him and his crew, and those that know they have to get on the building edges, they put their harnesses on their lanyards, as was talked about in the video, and there's tie-off points. And our contractors do the same thing that I've witnessed, at least. But they have to be at there for any kind of work. They have those harnesses on if they're crossing that 15-foot threshold. That's what I've seen. I have not seen us install temporary handrail equipment as of yet. And maybe that needs to be discussed.
So bringing a roof up to date requires putting tie-off points then, is that what you're saying?
It does, and those do get installed, those tie-off points on all the roofs.
Well, that's good. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Carrie is on our committee here. Do you have any comments, Carrie, about this?
Yeah, along with that, the ones that are portable, like you say, you can take up and then attach, drop into a system and tie off, don't qualify for most of the OSHA things because tie-off points have to be within a 12-degree radius of two different directions. So technically you only have a 22-degree system from the edge of the roof. And so with that in mind, we're trying to put anchors where they can meet that qualifications. Because you've seen guys, they put hook on their lanyard and then they walk over 30 feet a different direction. Those don't qualify because if you fall off the roof, you hit the ground before the lanyard does any good. And so that's why we can't have the portable ones you just drop in place. They have to be a solid anchored system. So, we got a lot of bugs to work through, but we're doing one roof at a time. Like we just updated the McDonald building. Most people don't notice, but like Joseph said, we put a guardrail system around the hatch that we installed for there. We also have a guardrail on the big cooler system. So anybody that works on that big unit doesn't have to be tied off because it goes 10 feet both directions past it. So guys can work in a safe area. But then anytime you get near to an edge, we have attached a couple of anchor systems that you can tie to. So yeah, we're working on it. We also are going to pick up a couple of mobile units, and for some roofing areas, if your crews are on the roof and they need one that can move around, this one we can lift up. It weighs about 4,000 pounds. And so because you have to have that 4,000 pound resistance for fall protection, but it is also mobile, so it can move anywhere on a roof. And so we're in the process of trying to pick up one of those right now so we can have it available for any time anybody wants to do some roof repairs. So that's in the process. That's all.
Will you be doing something to let the shops know that when that becomes available?
You bet. As soon as I get it, we'll post it to everybody saying, hey, this is available to check out as needed. And then if we need to get more than one, because that's going to happen, more than one shop at a time on a roof, it's inevitable, but we'll start with one and then go from there. So.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, awesome. Good discussion. Number 4 on our agenda. Last month, I was asked to put together a draft for a criteria value for safety, changing criteria to criterias. And I looked at what the statements were for some of the other values. Here's the one for exceeding customer service. You can see that it is a couple of paragraphs. And so I tried to emulate that when I created this one that I sent out to you on the agenda. And so I thought I'd just read it here. Let's see here. The safety of our workplaces and work practices is of paramount importance at Brigham Young University, and this depends on the full participation of all employees and management. It includes evaluating safety and health hazards in the workplace and implementing measures to mitigate or eliminate them. These measures include engineering controls, administrative controls, proper and consistent use of PPE, and speaking up when there's a safety concern. BYU personnel are expected to be current on assigned safety training courses, and supervisors should promote regular safety training. Safety is everyone's responsibility, and our number one goal is for all employees and students to return home safe and healthy at the end of each day. So that's just a first stab at it. This is the time for us to do any wordsmithing that you feel we should do on this, and then we're thinking of maybe having David Smith take it from here and make the recommendation to the administration on adding this to the criteria values statement. Any comments? Too wordy? Not wordy enough?
I think it's great.
That's Jared. Okay. Any other comments?
I read it with Bill and we both agree that it sounds good.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
I would add a little clause there to add decorative tile handrails on every building and put LED blue and white lights for night gazing. And that'll appease all the others that don't like the safetiness because they don't have to climb up on those roofs.
Okay.
I know on the roofs I've been on, I don't want to make a point about the roofs because I know on occasions I have to hang signs at the stadium. I tell you what, that's not even with the scaffolding and tiles, it's still not the most, just because it's not aesthetically good looking to have handrails way up on those the tops of the stadium. It's still pretty hairy to get up there, to have to get up there and hang those signs. So.
Okay, David, do you want to take it from here then and run it up the flagpole, see if that's something that is acceptable?
Yeah, I think so. I actually have a meeting with the policy group in March, in late March. And so I'm actually tempted on another project we've been working on, a safety project for supervisors. And so I think this might be a great thing to pitch then. Are you guys okay with me pitching it in late March?
You bet.
Because I'd be in a room with the VPs and President Worthen at that time, and that'd probably be a great spot to pitch it. I'm going to see if I can pitch it, then I'm going to ask my boss.
Okay. All right. Is this, you have this agenda in electronic form. Is this good enough, or would you like me to send you a Word document with this so that you can?
This is great. I'll copy and paste it.
Okay.
Thank you for doing this, guys. This is actually really good. It's really well written.
Okay, very good. We're just about out of time, so let's quickly go through the concerns log. Vehicle speed at the MHA. This is the reply that we received from, no, not that one. This is the reply that we received from the traffic office. They say, Traffic and Parking Committee discussed the recommendation to add an electronic speed sign down to the MHA. After discussing it, the committee feels it won't do much to change behavior in that area. We think due to the nature of that area, a majority of those driving through are physical facilities employees. We feel the speeding concern would better be addressed in the respective staff meetings of employees that frequent the area. With that said, we will not oppose a sign being put up as the safety committee suggests. So I'm interpreting that as they don't think it's going to they don't think it's necessary or even advisable, but they're not against us doing it. And they,
I'd like to weigh in on that just a little bit.
what's that?
I'd like to weigh in on that just a little bit. There's a lot more people down there than just BYU physical facilities. We have many people from the colleges coming down for storage use. They're unfamiliar with that area. Sometimes they get lost over in Bill and Andy's area, and then they find their way back. We have trucks coming in from all over the country. Hopefully they don't get lost over there in the material handling, but there's many people that access that area that are not part of the university or physical facilities. So I think an electronic sign would be good.
And unfortunately, some of those semis that come into receiving and stuff, they do get lost in our area, and we have to guide them back around.
Yeah. The impression I'm getting from their reply is that they just don't want to pay for it. So I think we're going to go ahead as long as we find a funding source for this. Are there any suggestions? Dave, do you have any money in risk management that this is about $3,000 for each of these signs? Do you have anything that's available in risk management?
You know what? There is a vehicle accident review board or committee that Amber McWhorter is now, or is the chair of. And that could be something to pitch to her, because Dave, I'd take a chance at pitching it to her. And that committee, they do have a fund, and you might be able to pull it off that way. Just a thought.
Okay, should I do that then?
Yeah, just reach out to Amber and see. See what she thinks. It may not be the right use of funds. We may not be able to use it for that, but I do know the funds in that account, and I do know there are some funds in there.
Okay, we'll try it that way. And it looks like this committee is all in favor of moving ahead. Let's start with one, see how that. Then we can proceed.
Can I jump in here? If we're only doing one, where it is placed is kind of critical, because if you place it just at the gate, they'll get 10 feet past that sign and it won't matter. I really think we either need a mobile one that we can move around so people can see it in different spots, or we get multiples.
Oh, all right.
Maybe the police station
cost.
Maybe the police station could help us with their mobile unit. I know they could set it up in different places and move it around. Maybe we don't need funds at all. Maybe we already have the asset and we just need to get more help from the university police.
You say they do have a mobile unit that?
I'm not sure that they do, but I've seen one on campus. Maybe it's Provost. I don't know.
I spoke with Wade, my contact on the police force, about this. I asked him for some advice, and he didn't mention that they had anything like that. In fact, I think I asked him if I remember right, but he didn't volunteer that they had anything. I can check with him again. Lieutenant Wade.
Okay.
All right. Very good. Looks like we're running low on time here, so let's just breeze through these rest. The vehicle ergonomic course is still in the hopper. Wanted to check back with Mark or Steve Brown on the shop first aid kits. Was that resolved with Jonathan Newfer and Steve Brown on bringing those specialty Band-Aids in to the warehouse?
We had Carl talk with some vendors, and we got some samples out to Steve. So we're working on sourcing that right now.
All right. Shall I keep this on the concerns log for the time being then?
Maybe for one more month, and then we should have it by next month for sure.
Awesome.
Carl did give me some ones that a vendor gave them. They're considered waterproof. I did test them with the other ones. I put it on each arm and warmed for a few days and showered with them. they worked okay. I think they might be a lot maybe cheaper than what the other ones I've got, but the one that I got from Cintas, it works really good. I mean, my granddaughter tried to pick at it because she likes to see what's underneath Band-Aids, and she couldn't get it off picking at it. That's how good they stick to you. But let's keep looking at it and then see if we can maybe get some of that stuff that the warehouse could stock and shops can just get what they want.
Great. Jonathan, I think we should call that the granddaughter test.
The granddaughter test, okay.
Granddaughter test. We
And
need one that
if
passes
you want
the
a special brand, we're happy to order that for your shop.
Yeah, I just know we cannot get it unless we go through a Cintas representative.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, next time you come in, come talk to Carl or I, and we can get you a box of those for sure.
Okay.
Very good. Okay, quickly before we end, are there any new items that we want to add to the concerns log at this point? All right, thanks for participating. We will see you next month at 10 o'clock on Tuesday, the 9th of March. Everybody have a great day and enjoy the devotional.